Which teams should you be keeping an eye on? Which teams are the most intriguing going into UIL realignment? Because I'll be honest, there are other teams that, in my opinion, I mean, I hate to tell you this, they're just not that interesting as far as realignment is concerned. I will give you an example. All of the 6A El Paso teams, entirely uninteresting. Love you guys, but we know what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay? Let me break it down for you. You guys will be in District 1.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be in District 1 6A. It'll be Coronado, Franklin, Montwood, Americas, Pebble Hill, Socorro, Eastlake, and Eastwood. That is a hot take, but that is what's going to happen.
It's not that you're uninteresting. It's just
your realignment profile is not particularly
It's
interesting.
chalky.
Right.
Yeah, it's chalky. We know what's going to happen. But there are 7 teams that there is legit intrigue. Not 7 teams. There are many, many teams where they're going. But here are 7 that I think you can identify as far as big-time names where they're going to go. We'll start in 6A. We'll start with the 2-time 6A Division I runner-up, and that's Duncanville. So Duncanville's in an interesting situation. This past realignment, they were thrown into a district with Dallas ISD and Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas ISD and Richardson. And they were, and you know, they wrecked shop during that realignment, and you know, things went pretty darn well for them. But here's the problem: there is now only one Dallas ISD 6A team,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Skyline. All the rest of them have dropped down to 5A.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's only one, Skyline, and Skyline can go a bunch of different places, right? Skyline's kind of an outlier. That kind of makes Duncanville a bit of an orphan as far as realignment is concerned. They're kind of on their own. But there is a pretty decent chance they could get realigned with their old district bunkmates.
Which, I mean, as a casual fan, I think this is where I would hope for.
Along I-20.
Yeah.
We're talking about Cedar Hill and DeSoto.
Mm-hmm.
You could very much see Duncanville, Cedar Hill, and DeSoto in the same district, not to mention with teams like South Grand Prairie, right? Keep an eye on that. Where Duncanville goes will be very instructive. It's kind of hard to imagine that they will not be in Region 1. I imagine they'll still be in Region 1. You know, anything's possible.
Sure.
But if they are in Region 1, if they get aligned with the DeSotos and the Cedar Hills, you're talking about a district of doom there. They're in South Dallas. So I've got my eye on Duncanville heading into realignment. In 5A, I've got a couple of them. One of them is Abilene Cooper. Abilene Cooper is in a weird spot, okay? Abilene Cooper is a 5A Division I squad, and there are basically 2 options as to where Abilene Cooper could go. District 1 is almost certainly, again, it's the UIL, they can do whatever they want, but almost certainly District 1 in 5A Division I is going to be El Paso, with El Paso Chapin opting up to 5A Division I. That did the UIL a huge favor because they were stuck with 3 El Paso teams out there. Now they've got 4. They can just make that a 4-team district and say, cool. District 2 is almost certainly going to be a combination of Amarillo and Lubbock schools. Okay, the Tascosas of the world who's dropping down from 6A, the Lubbock Coronados, etc. Probably going to be District 2. District 3 is probably going to be, think like West Fort Worth. Okay, think Crowley, think Saginaw, Granbury, things like that, Azle, things like that. Abilene Cooper is right in the middle of those two, of 2 and 3. They could go north and west and go up and play with Amarillo and Lubbock. It's a bit of a haul for them. Mm-hmm. Or they could be put in a Metroplex district. They could be put in with the Azles and the Brewers and the Granberries.
It's also a haul.
It's a haul, but it's a little bit better.
Closer,
From what I understand, they have requested to go into the DFW district. They want that because it's a little bit better travel. Mm-hmm. We'll see. The UIL doesn't have to listen to anybody except themselves, right. So they can request all they want. Anyway, that is very interesting.
They've been to that Lubbock. I mean, the past couple of years they've been in that Lubbock kind of area, right? That more west.
Yeah, they've been more west.
Yeah.
Correct. So we will see where Abilene Cooper lands. We will also see where Longview lands. Longview is dropping from, if you didn't know, Longview is dropping from 6A down to 5A Division I. And I think they've got 2 real options. They can, it's them out in like true East Texas. There's only 2 5A Division I squads. And that would be John Tyler and Longview.
Right.
I find it hard to imagine that the UIL is going to split them.
Mm-hmm.
I figure they're a package deal. So there's two particular options for them to go. One would be to send them west. If they get sent west, they're talking about a district with West Mesquite, with Midlothian, maybe with Lancaster, maybe with Highland Park.
Mm-hmm.
That could be interesting. Or they could get sent south with Lufkin, and then with College Station, maybe even on down to New Caney. Like, we're talking about down to, like, northern Houston area.
Yeah.
So where the Lobos go, along with John Tyler, if you imagine that they're a package deal, where they go is going to be pretty instructive of what the UIL was thinking as far as how they want these big pieces to align. So do they go west to DFW, or do they go south to the Piney Woods or rather the deep East Texas Piney Woods, all the way down to Houston, and maybe College Station gets thrown in there as well?
For 6A, they were thrown west.
They were thrown west.
Rockwall, Mesquite, and all that stuff. So
exactly.
Is that what they're thinking? Or
our designated Lobo fan, Allison Brown, is saying that she's praying for west. So it might be a
that would. I mean, imagine like Longview, John Tyler, Lufkin, College Station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New Caney. New Caney was 10-1 last year.
That good God.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Now West would be fun.
Yeah, I was about to say, sorry, as a neutral fan, that'd be amazing, but I understand it.
Either way, they're going to be they're going to be put in a tough district either way.
Sure.
The question is going to be, does it go west or does it go south?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find out. That's one to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on Waco La Vega. Waco La Vega, of course, the 2018 4A Division I state champions, the 2019 4A Division I state finalist. They are what we will call a regional floater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They can be in pretty much any region. They could be in Region 2, which is what they were this past realignment, right? They could very easily be in Region 3.
Mm-hmm.
They could be in Region 4, depending on where they go. They can go north, south, east, or west. There's really no telling where they're going to go. And, by the way,
they're Region 4 last realignment with Liberty Hill.
Yes, in the 2016 realignment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They were in Region 4. They can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They're a regional floater, and again, that's going to be instructive as to what the UIL is thinking, because they are even more of an orphan now out there, and they could go if they get in the last realignment. They were with Brownwood and Stephenville. If they stick with Brownwood and Stephenville, they could very easily be Region 1.
Yep.
They are a true floater right there along I-35. Keep an eye on them. Sticking in 4A Division 1, keep an eye on Port Lavaca Calhoun. There's a number of high-profile drop-downs from 5A to 4A on the coastal bend, most notably Corpus Christi, Cal Allen, and Port Lavaca Calhoun. We have a pretty good idea that Cal Allen is going to be put with Miller, who's also dropping down, with Toloso Midway. Those are not the same ISD, but they probably keep the Corpus schools together, right? Does the UIL lump Calhoun into there, or do they send them over with teams like Alice, teams like Zapata, La Feria? Do they basically send them south?
Right.
That's what's going to be very interesting. How does the UIL take into account Port Lavaca Calhoun? Because there's a lot of intrigue as to where they go. Heck, they could go to El Campo, right? El Campo is not that far from Port Lavaca, and that could put them in Region 3. Very interesting to keep an eye on what Port Lavaca Calhoun is going to do. Another high-profile drop-down from 3A to 2A is Cisco. Cisco, where they go and specifically what region they go in is going to be very interesting. Do they go into Region 1? Do they go into Region 2? Where they go, they're going to be a contender. So keep an eye on Cisco at the 2A ranks. What do they look like? What is their realignment draw? And then finally in the 6-man ranks, I want you to keep an eye on Motley County. Motley County's been a power in the 6-man ranks kind of forever, but most notably these past couple of years, under Coach Mike Bigham, they've done an unbelievable job of being a contender. They are another team that I think a lot of people just assume, they're West Texas. Of course they'll be Region 1. 6-man football, because of where those 1A teams are, there's a lot of different. It's not necessarily written in stone that because they're kind of South Plains that they're going to be on, in Region 1. There's a fair chance that they float over to Region 2. And in fact, if you go back a couple of realignments ago, they were in District 9 when they were in Region, so they would be in Region 3. There is a greater than zero chance that they flowed over to the east side of this 1A Division 2 bracket. Keep an eye on Motley County, of course, a state finalist from this past year. Keep an eye on Motley County where they go in 1A Division 2. Of course, we'll have complete coverage of the 2020 UIL realignment coming up here on Monday, but it's all throughout the week. We've got a TexasFootball.com/realignment brought to you by our friends at James Hardy. So check it out, TexasFootball.com/realignment.